Watch this if you're serious about your English communication in 2026 because I'm going to upgrade your communication today in this session for 2026. But before that, I would like you all actually to imagine yourself in 2026. How you look. So you walk into the boardroom and then you express your ideas and everybody leans in. They stop when you speak and they lean in to listen to you. And how do you feel? You feel confident because that's not luck, that sheer communication, your upgraded communication. I know how do you feel today. You feel stuck somewhere. And why you feel stuck? Because when you look at the people and you see they speak in and you're not able to make that impact, then you wonder, why is it so that these people, they are listened to and you are ignored? And I'm going to decode that today because I did it many years back. So be with me till the very end because at the end, I'll show you this mindset switch that will definitely separate you from those speakers. And you are going to be a leader and you're going to speak the language of the leader. So be with me till the very end. Yes, if you want to take my free masterclass on Triple A system, I've given the link in the description. Go there, click the link, and you can watch that for free. That's my masterclass. But from now, stay here for this particular session. That is our 6 communication upgrades. A lot of mid-level and senior professionals tell me that when I speak in meetings, I speak a lot, but people don't seem to remember it. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to discuss that in our first upgrade. So our first upgrade is think in headlines, not in sentences. And that's a powerful hack. So what you're going to do is that instead of remembering the whole sentences, whole speech, just remember the headline. And this is what I did actually for my presentation also. I remember the headlines, that how I'm going to present, what are the 6 upgrade. That's it, finish. And then you can speak. By the way, if I ask you how news anchors speak, can you just imagine that the way news anchors speak? So news anchors, they don't give the full news, something like this. A major event occurred in Delhi today and because of unexpected rains and all that, and then they go on speaking like this. No, they don't do that. So what do? They just give the headline. So you are going to do the same. So they'll say Delhi choked by heavy rains, traffic at a standstill. And this is how you're going to speak also. Not only remember, but speak same way. So remember the headlines, not the sentences. And when your boss asks you, what is the update on the project? So instead of rambling over everything that, like, you may speak something like, we are still working on phase 2 and we might finish it soon if the vendor clears the payment. No, you don't need to give this rambling. What are you going to do? You're going to give the headline. So you will speak something like this. Phase 2 is 80% done. One vendor delay is holding us back. Finish. That's it. And that's how you're going to speak. So what difference does it make? Huge. It's going to make huge difference because it's going to be focused speech. It's going to be crisp. It's going to be clear. And of course, that's going to be very, very impactful. So one hack can change your communication in a big way because that's also memorable. So I would request you all to do that. But before that, I would request you to do this mini exercise, right? So I'm going to give you this for a meeting. Write your 3 key points like news headlines, right? So what you'll do is you'll write something like this. Client is happy, but project needs more hands. Or you can talk about the team productivity and you will say team productivity up 20% this month. Just to speak like this. Simple headlines, nothing else. Okay, let's go to our next upgrade. So what is our next upgrade? It is master the power pause, your secret weapon. So, when you speak, you try to rush through it. So in rushing through your speech, you show your nervousness. I always say silence is your secret weapon, but you should know how to use that. And that's what we are going to talk about. This is your secret weapon. What is that? Silence. It's not your enemy. So most of the people say that sometimes I just forget that what I need to speak. No problem at all. You can remain silent like I did right now. And look at this, the kind of impact that it creates. Now, you should know how to use that weapon. A lot depends on that. Now, most of the people, when they go silent, what do? They try to fill in the space, the vacuum. How? With their fillers. Actually, naturally, basically. No, you just need to remain silent. And that's how you can use this weapon. I always say that confidence is not in your speed. It's never in your speed. Most of the people, they rush through it. It's in the pause. So if you want to sound confident, you should learn how to use your silence. So what you're going to do, you're going to speak it without a pause. I'm giving you this. So just read it through without a pause. Like, how would you read it without a pause? You will say something like this: our Q3 results have been good, but we need to focus more on customer retention. Without a pause, it doesn't create any impact. But the same thing, when you change it and when you pause, when you are speaking, you'll see the impact will come. Now, I would request you to read it with pause. And I've written it everywhere the way you need to give the pause as well. So you'll read it something like this: our Q3 results have been strong. But the next challenge is retention. That's where our focus shifts now. Now, if you look at this, the whole thing, when I was giving pause, the word before that automatically that got stressed, right? That got emphasized. And when you do that, you create an impact. So you need to see where to pause. So there are two kinds of pauses. The pauses, they can be accidental, or pauses, they can be intentional. And intentional pauses are always useful and impactful. So instead of making it accidental pause, make it intentional. How it is different? Huge way. So when you use pauses, you can always wait. There's no rush, no hurry. You always get time to think what to speak, because you are utilizing your silence in a big way, in a constructive way. And then you emphasize. And of course, you own the pace. If you want to own the room, you need to own the pace as well. You should know when to go high as far as speech is concerned, when to go low, when to go fast, when to go slow. The pace should be in your hand. So if you own the pace, you own the room. This is the formula, simple one. So we are going to do this mini exercise, and in this mini exercise, I would request you to take a piece of article from magazine or from a newspaper and then try to read it two ways. First, without the pauses and emphasis, and the next time with pause, using your silence and using your stress word also, where to give stress, and you will find the difference yourself. I would like to know it from you in the comment section. How did you feel? What is your feeling when you did that? Let's come to upgrade number 3. Oh wow, speak to the why. I always say, if your why is clear, your how will appear. Same way, if your why is clear, your what will appear. But most of the speakers, they stress on what part, not on why. So my upgrade for you, my upgrade number 3 for you is speak to the why, not to what. And that's what most of the... So the question is, why not what? Now you can read it two ways. Why, not what? Or why not what? Again, depends on the pause and the stress. But by the way, coming to the why and what, why is it so? Because, when you speak in what, you inform. But when you speak in why, you give the purpose. And that's the difference between speakers and leaders. So most professionals speak to inform, but leaders, they speak to inspire. If you want to inspire your audience, you should more be talking about why. So when I'm talking about my what, I'm also giving you why of each one of my words. And that's very, very important for you. Okay, that always comes when you speak about why. Okay, the purpose, that means. So, for example, if I speak that what we should do, and I'm asking you the question, what? So that means this is the what. So what is the what? What is, we should automate this task. But the question is, why? We should automate the task because it'll save us 8 hours every week and let us focus on creative problem solving. Not only you're talking about what we should do, you're also talking about why we should do it. So that's why is very, very important. Okay, yes, that will change your style always. So you will shift from data given to purpose driven. And that's very, very powerful shift. You will lead with why and you will close with what always. So when people want to lead, they'll want to lead with why, not with what. They can close their speech with what you need to do. And of course, you move from communication. And of course, your communication moves from transactional to transformational. So if you want to give transformational kind of communication, you need to move from what to why, right? So how it is different? It is purpose driven, it's leadership style, of course, and then, of course, it is solution centric and transformational. Now, these all four things, they make you a real leader in the true sense. And this is how the communication matters. So, what you're going to do, again, mini exercise that you're going to speak these sentences aloud and then you need to feel it. And you also need to feel that whether you are speaking what or you're speaking why. By the way, the first sentence I've already written, it is the what sentence. There is no purpose. There is no reason. But the second one, if you read, please read it aloud. Yeah. If you read it, you'll find this why in it. And again, if your why is clear, your what will appear. So don't worry about the what, worry about why. Okay. So that was the third one. And the fourth one is, stories. Most of the time, people tend to give lessons. You create stories. You start your speech with a story. I started my speech with my story. I started my speech by making you imagine how would you look like in 2026. And that's why it's very important actually. You don't jump to lessons immediately. Later on, you can do that. But these micro stories, that means small stories, are very important. And why? Because this is not me, but Dale Carnegie who said. And he said, the speakers who talk about what life has taught them never fail to keep the attention of their listeners. So I just told you what I learned when I was growing up. And this is what you need to do. You take out the lessons from your life and try to give it to your audience, and you will always inspire them. Now, this is pure telling. So if you speak something like this, that our process is inefficient and needs revision, simple telling. You don't need to tell. What do you need to do? You need to story tell. And this is storytelling. So if you look at the difference between the two, you'll find there is a scene being created here. So last week, a client waited 2 extra days because we didn't have real-time updates. And that's why we need to fix this process. That's the storytelling, and very powerful one. Now, I'm going to give you triple R method of storytelling. How many of you have watched that movie Triple R? You like that? There's a wonderful story. And not one story into it. There are 2-3 stories woven into it. And same way, you can weave beautiful stories into your speeches and communication. So what is R triple R? The first R is about relating. So start with a short real life example and then reveal what the problem or insight was. And then maybe you can talk about your action, but lastly, talk about the result always. If you follow this example that you relate, then you reveal, and then you give the result, then definitely you'll find something beautiful. For example, if you look at this is triple R in application, right? You've done everything. You have related to something, you have revealed something, and you've shown the result as well. So you can read it out. 2 years ago, one of our clients almost left us because of slow response. And then we introduced a small dashboard, and that single change improved our turnaround by 30%. And that's why agility matters. Now, if you look at this, all the 3 R's have been covered. And this is storytelling. So instead of data given approach, you take the storytelling approach. That's very, very powerful. Okay. Now, why so? Because it helps. Story always helps. And why so? Because humans are wired to pay attention to stories. Always. You like stories. I like stories. It establishes a connection and it can pick their curiosity also. They want to know what happened. No, and they always are looking forward to some more stories, that this speaker will come out with some more stories. So they always, so that always helps you as a speaker. So stories motivate the audience to act as well. Yeah, again, it is action driven as well. Stories are action because they inspire. All the stories inspire, right? Now let's come to grade number 5. Yes, you need to speak the leader language, not the manager language, not the speaker language. What is that leader language? I'll tell you what is leader language. Okay, now most of the people, they react something like this when they are given the challenge. So there can be 3 ways of reacting or different ways of reacting. Like you can say, I think this can't be done. Okay, I'll try to finish it. Look at the phrase, I think, I'll try, maybe. Now all these words and phrases, they brand you as a simple manager. You're managing your tasks. You're not leading your team. And if you want to lead your team, you need to change the language. Your language actually brands you as a leader or as a manager. And this is how you can change your communication when you say, here's how we can make it work. Or you'll say, not I'll try, I'll ensure. I'll ensure it works. It is done. And also, let's decide by Friday. Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference in reaction and response? And this is the reframe. This is the reframe that you can take. So instead of saying I think, say I believe. Instead of saying maybe we should, say let's consider. Instead of speaking sorry but, you can always say, oh, here is another way to look at it. Now the language actually changes your perception in the mind of the company and your audience also. So it's very important that you take this approach of leader language approach, not manager language. And the last but not the least is build an ecosystem. That's very, very important. If you want to learn English, learn communication, you need to be in the ecosystem. Okay, instead of struggling alone. Most of the people I see, they struggle alone. They do different things. They read books, they read newspaper, they watch YouTube videos, they buy courses, everything they do to learn English. Where is the ecosystem? By the way, if you want to learn like how to do that, you just ask a question. How kids learn language? I'll ask you a question. Give me the answer. How kids learn language? Do they go through grammar books? Do they watch YouTube videos? Do they also buy courses and all that and learn the language? I mean, I'm not talking about English. I'm talking about any regional language. The mother tongue. No, not from these. How do they, and you can answer me, how do they learn the language? They learn the language through this method. They listen, they imitate, and then of course they correct themselves. And what do they do after that? They repeat. What is all that? It's nothing but this. This is the ecosystem. And I call it language ecosystem. You need to build that language ecosystem around you. You need to listen to something. You need to talk because it's not only output, it is also input. In fact, there are three pillars to it. I'll talk about those pillars actually. One is input, the other is output, and the third is feedback. So, input is what you're listening to, what you're reading. Output is what you're speaking. So, most of the people, they speak at the input level. They watch videos, listen to the podcast, read newspaper, but they don't speak. And that is the big problem. And this is why it is very important to go through it. And lastly, you need to have the feedback also. From whom? Maybe your friends, your colleagues, or a mentor who can guide you. So, by the way, if you want to choose this system, we have a masterclass where I've talked about not only the ecosystem, but other two E's also. So, if you want to take that masterclass, the link is in the description. And yes, don't forget to subscribe the channel if you want to have sessions like this. And like it and share it as well if you like the video. But last but far from the least, as I promise you, the mindset switch. And this is the switch that you need to make today. And that definitely will separate talkers from the leaders. And so you have to decide whether you want to be a talker or you want to be a leader. If you want to be a leader, you need to get rid of this. You need to drop the imposter voice, that imposter syndrome that says you don't deserve it. Most of the people, they do that. And you need to listen to your inner voice. So what is the imposter syndrome, by the way? Imposter syndrome is something like, my English is not perfect, so I'm not a leadership material. Maybe even if I get promotion, how would I manage that? Because my English is not good. Or maybe you will say, I don't justify my current salary, forget about the raise. That is the imposter syndrome. And how you're going to handle that? Very easy. You need to have this switch in your hand or in your mind. So what you're going to do is, you need to speak and talk to yourself and say this. Don't try to be perfect. Perfection has been the biggest talent killer. Let me tell you that. So don't try to be perfect. Fluency is not perfection. As I told you, it is flow. It's just flow. Speak as you want. Own your message, even if you make some errors in English. By the way, I've quoted it again and again. I see a lot of players actually speaking in press conferences, committing errors, but they remain confident because they own their message. They know what they are speaking. And this is what you need to do. Okay. And communicate to express, not to impress. Yes, you can impress as well. You can create an impact later on. But right now, just express. Okay. So this is what you need to do. You need to express yourself. You don't need to impress. You can do this part later on. Okay. So now, let's bring it all together. All the six upgrades that I'm going to talk about. Number one, speak in headlines, not in sentences. Number two, use pauses to sound confident. And number three, very important, if your voice clear, your what will appear. And of course, micro stories. They create inspiration and they want to listen to you and speak the leader language that I was talking about. And lastly, the ecosystem. You need to create that. And don't forget the bonus one, the imposter syndrome. Drop that now. Drop that today. And I'll be there with my masterclass. The link is in the description, as I told you. But for now, this is what I want to tell you. All of you. You see, if you don't showcase your talent, it will be hidden forever. And forever means forever. And by the way, you have that latent talent in you. You just need to, number one, realize that and bring it out. And how you can do that? By taking action. So one action that you have taken today, that you have watched this video till the very end. And I would like to thank you all for that. At the same time, I would request you that if you find somebody that who needs masterclasses like this, sessions like this, please share it with them. Okay. Thank you so much. I would definitely see you in the next one. All the best. Okay. All the best to all of you. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one.